Hello and welcome to Beyond the Scale, Weight Loss and Wellness. I'm your host, Coach Monica. I'm joined today by Coach Darcy, and we are here to guide you through the ins and outs of a lifestyle that's transformed not just our lives, but the lives of countless women navigating the waves of perimenopause and menopause. Whether you're here to shed weight, understand your body better, or simply find a community that gets it, you're in the right place. So sit back and enjoy the next few minutes as we tackle the hot issues of today. Hello and welcome to another episode of Beyond the Scale, Weight Loss and Wellness, the place where we turn challenges into victories and personal growth. I'm your host, Monica Boyer, and I am joined today by my co-host, Darcy Harville, and we are here not just as a guide, but as a friend of this journey of self-discovery and transformation. Today, we're diving deep into a topic that touches so many of us on a very personal level. Weight loss and the battle of the mind. In our time together today, we'll explore not just the physical aspects of weight loss, which many of us are familiar with, but the mental battles that are often unseen and can become the most destructive. Those moments of doubt, the shadows of past attempts, and the whispers of fear that tell us, maybe it's not worth it. But here's a little secret. It is absolutely worth it, and you are not alone. We'll talk about why sometimes, despite our best intentions, we find ourselves stepping back from our goals. Is it the haunting memory of past failures? The seductive call of laziness on a cozy morning? Or perhaps it's the fear of missing out on life's guilty pleasures. Yep, we're going to talk about these and many more. But more importantly, we'll talk about how to overcome them. So whether you're on your way to work or taking a break from your daily routine or just needing a friend to share the silence with, can I invite you to lean in? Let's share the space together, learn from each other, and remember, no matter how tough the journey seems, there is always a way through. Because, my dear friends, at the heart of it all, we are warriors. Grab your favorite cup of tea, find your coziest spot, and let's get started. Welcome to Beyond the Scale, Weight Loss and Wellness. Coach Darcy, welcome. Are you excited about today's topic?
Again, I'm excited. It's a pretty scary kind of topic, but it is another necessity to discuss about. Because during the times of weight loss, we think it's all about the scale, but it's not. We find ourselves trapped in a corner. Mm-hmm. We feel that the loudness of this world is it's louder than anything else. And we get so overwhelmed and have this anxiety that starts to form. And then we start to forget about all of the non-scale victories that we've had. So
I like to say, Coach, and maybe we're giving away the tools of our trade, but I like to say 10% of what we do as coaches is calories and macros. 90% is what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. This is a scary topic.
It is. So how we're going to go about this is we're going to give you, I think we have about 8. Do we have about 8 topics of things that, and plus a couple, like 8.5 or 8.25, something like that. And then we're going to talk about the issue, and then we're going to do a real, like a solution. Yeah. So we're not going to leave all the solutions at the end. We're going to talk about all of the stuff. Yeah. And then we're going to give you the solution. Yeah. And I'm going to go ahead and start. If that's okay. You go. So the first one seems to be a very common one, especially if you have been in the dieting world for a really long time. And all of those have probably failed. So you're dwelling on the past fails. So if you're hesitant to do yet another lifestyle change, now you're kind of like, oh, well, that one didn't work out, and I'm kind of don't really want to trust my coach with all this, these feels that I have. So you may be haunted by previous attempts at weight loss. Now, if that is you, then what would the solution be? The solution would be to embrace a mindset of learning from the past rather than being chained to
Mm-hmm.
it. And every attempt is a step forward,
Yeah.
that progression. And I like to think about when spring cleaning
Ah,
and cleaning out the junk closet. I hate the junk
hate it.
closet, but you find a whole lot of stuff that's been stuffed in there that you don't
Mm-hmm.
need.
Some things you do.
And
Some things you're
some
like, you
things you
find
do,
treasures in there.
you do. Like you've lost something for a while
Yeah,
and you
there
couldn't
it
find it.
is.
Oh, it was in the junk closet. Uh, but junk closet has been so full that I cannot close the door anymore or the
Mm-hmm.
drawer. And what happens when you can't close the door in the drawer anymore? You're like you're like running into it and trying to close it. You're trying to like slam it shut. And then to the point where you just yank the door open and said, forget this. And so
Yep.
then that's when all of that spills out.
Yep. Yep. So learning from the past rather than being chained by it. So what worked for you in the past? What failed for you in the past? That's a
Yeah.
good one.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about laziness.
Ooh.
We have an epidemic here in the United States. I don't know if it's singly, if I'm singling out the United States, but we have an epidemic because we are lazy. In the same face as laziness, we are the most busy people that we can be. And so sometimes the laziness and the fact that, oh, I don't want to cook dinner tonight.
Yeah.
I am, it's often a feeling of being masked, feeling overwhelmed and lacking motivation. And it really is that the convenience of our world today makes us a very, very lazy people. And so the solution to this problem that we have is breaking these things into smaller and smaller manageable tasks and celebrating each victory that we have, building a momentum, right?
Yeah.
Understanding that being healthy and living in this world of health is not an easy thing. And when it's not an easy thing, we grasp a hold of it and say, okay, I'm going to do the things no matter what. I'm not going to let laziness be a part of my journey, right? What's
Right.
the next one, Coach?
So the next one is something I deal a lot about, but before, uh, it was the fear of missing out or FOMO. I like to call it that. It's a shorty. But the issue is worrying what if that following a healthier lifestyle means missing out on the fun. Girls' nights are no longer the same. Uh, Movie nights are no longer the same. And so, what's the point if I'm going to miss out on this social gathering? Um, well, let me tell you what the solution is here. The solution is to focus on the gains rather than the losses, to find joy in a new, healthier experience. And let me tell you, not having your legs chafe when you're trying to take a nice, brisk walk is a huge non scale victory. Being able to play outside with your kids, throwing the ball outside, and having the energy is a huge gain of
Yeah.
happiness and not feeling like did a failure of a mom. And I know you have
Mm-hmm.
mentioned in the
Oh,
past that
yeah.
you've just felt like a huge failure of a parent because you were not able to give yourself to your family like you would want to do. So being able to replace something, yes, fear of missing out, but something with so much better
Mm.
that's going to create better memories, better experiences, and you can find a replacement at those social gatherings. You can find new things to replace, by even suggesting, hey, ladies, let's go out and dance
Mm-hmm.
instead of, going to this cake factory. Finding something active to do with your friends, going for hikes, doing things like that that would, I don't know, make a situation a lot better. Um, what would be another thing that would also be kind of an issue, Coach? I'm trying to spit that out.
Well,
I was
we
struggling.
deal a lot with this, and in our line of work, we call it the red dog theory.
Mm,
And if you picture with me, sometimes people think of it as the demon and the angel sitting on the shoulder. We call it red dog and blue dog. And what we find a lot of times is that our clients let pessimistic thoughts control their actions. So they have the red dog sitting on their left shoulder saying, "You can't do this. You've already done this before. See, you didn't lose a pound this week, so it's not working. See, you tried. You did everything. You counted every single macro, and you only lost 0.14 pounds. You are a failure. You are this, you are that." And so what happens is our clients fall prey to this, and they start believing the thoughts and the mind of this red dog, and they let the red dog take control over their journey. And that will eventually cut them off at the legs. They will forever believe the red dog, when what happens is what they should do is look over to the other side and say, "Okay, the red dog is saying I'm no good. What is the blue dog?"
Sorry. Can we just explain what's happening?
We need to stop and explain for the podcast world. We just had a meltdown in the office.
We literally have a red dog named Clark that is like needing my attention. And so as we're talking about the red dog is getting on my shoulder and saying, "Let me outside."
And for all of you that are listening to us, we are on video right now. So if you just imagine, I am knee deep into the red dog theory, and I am seeing this red dog pop up in Darcy's camera, and it was overwhelming. We love to say that this podcast is extremely professional. We have no interruption.
It's so professional.
We bring props to our podcast, and we've got the red dog here. So what happens when the red dog for our clients is not as cute as Clark is. The red dog is serious. But what happens when the red dog speaks is we have to reverse that. And we teach our clients, this is how you reverse the voice of the red dog. This is how you do it. The red dog says you only lost a pound. Look at what a pound looks like. Look what just came off of your body. You say you're anxious. We say you are healthy. So we teach our clients to reverse the red dog language, and we turn into the blue dog. And that really, really is a help and a tactic. And recognizing the red dog in the first place. So sometimes our clients are not strong enough, and they are not good enough yet at reversing that negative talk. We teach them just to recognize, because so many times we let the red dog get away with speaking, and we let him control our lives, and we don't even acknowledge that it is him speaking, and it turns into our own voice. And that is when we crash our journey. So learning to recognize the voice of the red dog. Darcy, can you talk, in extension of this, can you talk a little bit about anxiety?
We are on the same page, girl. So that when you red dog is speaking so loud, and again, it's like at the beginning when I talked about when you feel like you are just shoved in the corner because of how loud everything is and how loud the red dog is speaking, you start to get that anxiety. And you start to be like, you want to scream. You feel like something's heavy on your chest, and there's nothing else that you can do other than giving in to what the issue is causing. So it could be that state of FOMO. I don't know if anxiety and FOMO go in hand, but if you are feeling like somebody's shoving something in your way and they want you to do it, you're either going to give into it or you're going to utilize the tools that we use to get yourself out. So the issue with stress and anxiety can lead to emotional eating. And if you didn't listen to our previous podcast about emotional eating, you definitely want to go back and listen to that. We go into a depth about emotional eating.
Yeah.
But the solution to this is not only utilizing the tool that Coach Monica was talking about with the blue dog and listening to the opposite of what the red dog is telling you, but you can develop stress reduction techniques such as meditation, yoga, deep breathing, exercise. I feel like even getting out and exercise, as much as I don't advocate for exercising because I don't like it, but I do it because I know it's so mentally healthy for my brain.
And so here's another thing about anxiety is when you live the ketogenic lifestyle, one of the perks of it is reducing inflammation and reducing brain fog. And so I
Yeah.
remember when I lost about 20 pounds, I remember sitting on the couch and feeling like the clouds parted for the first time. And that in my anxiety was gone. My depression was gone. And we're not a doctor. We don't play one on the internet. We cannot, tell you about, your anxiety, but there is a chemical reality of removing sugar from your diet and having that brain fog lift, which sometimes takes the form of anxiety. So that is a beautiful side effect of
Which
keto.
which then that links into our next topic of
Yeah.
chemical addiction. Would you like to continue on?
Yeah, yeah. So these two go hand in hand. Chemical addiction, it is a possibility, and it is an official diagnosis now that you can be chemically addicted to sugar, processed foods. And in fact, I got my certification and my license to be a food addiction recovery coach because it is an actual physical brain disorder. So you can be wrestling with the body's craving for sugar and processed foods. You can be wrestling with the chemical addiction, and a side diagnosis is the processed food addiction. I'm reading a book called The Dorito Effect right now, and it talks about how chemicals have been designed as an addiction, a chemical addiction. And so the dependency on convenience foods, these are all foods that are in boxes. In the middle of the grocery aisle, you will find your biggest processed food addiction drug dealer, if I can call them that. But we are dependent now on convenience foods that are high in sugar, fat, and salt. And so the solution for that is we're not doing it anymore. I don't buy anything in a box anymore. I don't buy anything
Right.
that's processed anymore. And I am starting to learn the art of cooking at home and making those things from basic recipes, right? And then
Yeah.
also the chemical addiction, there is freedom from that. And I'm sorry to say, but the solution to that is abstinence. So, and we'll have a
Yeah.
whole show devoted to chemical food addiction. Can you talk about TMI? That's a really good one. You
Yeah.
and I both suffered
This
from
is
that for a while.
this is my goes hand in hand with overload, brain
Yes.
overload. This is what you're doing. TMI, too much information. Where you are, there's too many times we go to, I get Dr. Google. I like
Mm-hmm.
that, Dr. Google. And we get all the information that we can find. And because there's something wrong with
Mm-hmm.
us, we don't feel right. So we're going to Google everything that's wrong with us. Or we've learned about this new information. We are suckers for
Mm.
this, where there's a new book out
Mm-hmm.
and we got to read it. There's new information and research, so we feel like we got to read that one too to see what this influencer says or this doctor says, and you can just over
Yeah.
too much, like
TMI.
overly doing
Mm-hmm.
TMI. So the solution about this is, yes, it is amazing to learn and progress and know all the information, a lot of information about, especially like what we're passionate about with keto. Like we
Mm-hmm.
learn a lot of things about our health, a lot of things about nutrition, a lot of things about supplements. We learn about all
Mm-hmm.
those things. But I'm gonna add my story here of my moment where, when I was first doing my journey and I was losing the weight, people were noticing that I was losing the weight. I felt like I had to explain myself to people. So I'm sitting here learning all these words about metabolism and what a micronutrient is and a macronutrient is. And they had all these questions. And the thing that I got flustered in the conversations, because then they would come back at me while saying, well, this, I learned that somebody that did the keto diet just went to the hospital and died, and all this information. I got flustered. I let that ruin the beginning part of my journey. And I was overloading my brain, where then I started getting my information mixed up. And so I had a negative belief about myself. I didn't feel confident in myself. So I had to listen to this phrase that was told to me, and I think it's a biblical phrase of "do not cast your pearls before swine."
Mm-hmm.
And so once I learned about that, like, I needed to learn because I wanted to learn, not because I was trying to defend my lifestyle.
Right.
I'm not going to do that anymore. So I learn to learn about this lifestyle and how amazing it is, but I do not learn to defend
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
in that negative way, because you can still defend
Right,
yourself.
right. There's times
But
we have to.
yeah, so in the solution is knowing your boundaries, knowing that little information like progression is amazing, but do it
Mhm.
1%, do it little by little. Um
Yeah, what's worked in the
and
past for you?
yeah, yes, go back to what has
Mhm.
worked.
There's a lot of times we
So,
take our clients there, they get so overwhelmed. Our clients do more research than they need to be doing, and they get frustrated, and sometimes they end up gaining weight when they do that.
yeah.
Well, so and so, website said this, I must be doing it wrong. And then suddenly, what has worked? What worked for you in the past? Go back to the basics, go back to simple. So we all get in that
Yes.
because we love learning. But there
Yes.
is TMI for sure.
Right. Absolutely.
So, and perfectionism goes hand in hand with that. Sometimes we think we have to be perfect, and I always say to my clients, don't let perfection get in the way of progress. Go that 1%, and you're going to be in a different place. So stop trying to be perfect, because you're not going to be perfect. You're not going to ever hit that perfection zone. So you got to just embrace the progress, not perfection, right?
Do you feel that people feel like they have to be perfect for themselves or for the support of others?
I have a lot of clients who want to be perfect for the coach. They're like, well, I didn't want to
Oh,
disappoint you,
yeah.
coach. I didn't want to,
Yeah.
and a lot of them have family members who are saying you're going to fail. And so they feel like if they're perfect, then they won't fail. And what happens
Right.
is the opposite. What happens is they fail because they're trying to be perfect, and they can't get to that point, and so they might as well quit. They might as well eat that donut because they can't be perfect anyway. And that's how
Right.
most people fall off the wagon, because they had a donut, and well, I screwed up. I might as well screw up the whole way, and that's how they end up gaining the weight back. So,
Yeah.
can you talk to us about you close us up here
Yeah.
with the lack of support? Let's talk about that challenge of being alone and not having support.
Yeah. We find a lot of the people that we get to work with are knowing that they need to change, yet the accountability is really important and they just don't have it. You've got maybe people in your life that say, "Oh, well you can what's one bite going to hurt?" or that's not going to work for you. Look how many times you've failed before. So you've got people speaking negative things into your head and there's no support whatsoever. They're waiting for you to fail. They're waiting for you to just mess up and go back to your old self and be able to join them in the party
Mhm.
kind of thing. Some people do it for, because they're jealous. That was what happened with me and Coach Monica. I was very jealous of her journey. So when you have that feeling of aloneness in your journey, the solution is this: finding an accountability group that is very like minded. Um, Seek it either out online or like for us as a coach, we are a lot of our clients accountability
Yeah.
people. We are their number one cheering team. That's what we
Yeah.
are. We're rooting them on for success.
Right.
We are helping them through those pits and valleys that they find themselves in because they don't have any support around them. But the biggest one I love to advocate for is, since we started our own group support,
Right.
that is gold
Oh,
right
group
there.
support is huge.
Group support is so huge, because you're walking this journey not by yourself, but with other people that may be going something through very similar
Hmm.
as you are, and you can be like, oh, well, I'm not just broken. This is normal
Hmm.
for me to be struggling like this. So if you don't have a support group, get yourself one.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you don't have a supporting family, it's gonna be a battle, but utilizing all
Hmm.
these tools and solutions that we just shared with you
Yeah.
and apply them. Don't just think about it and just say, oh, I know I need to do this and this. Use
Yeah.
power words like I will do this or I can do this. I'm going to do this. Use your power words. And when you say them out loud, then you start to believe them.
Yeah.
Isn't
Yeah.
that crazy how that
And when
works?
you say them out loud and you're in group, your neighbor and your sister who's trying to lose weight along with you, she grabs onto that.
Yeah.
And so there is power in that. If
Yeah.
you need help, please reach out to us. In the show notes, we have our contact information. We have all of the different programs that we offer. We are here to walk you through your journey, and we want to see you have success just as we have had success. So we are here every week. We download a new episode every single week. And so we are excited. We love this journey that you're taking with us. Please leave us a review on the podcast streaming device that you're choosing. Leave us a review. Share this with your family and friends, and help us get all of this message of hope to your family and friends. And like I said, reach out to Coach Darcy or myself. We'll be happy to walk with you through your journey. Take care, and we will see you next week.